Okay, welcome to this week's videos. As you can see, we've got a nice new sort of background going on for these sort of PowerPoint style lessons. I promise you this won't be death by PowerPoint. These sessions are quick. They give you what you need to be able to get the criteria for your BTEC, and then you can move on. So this week we're going to be just doing a quick little look at the for-profit and not-for-profit organisations in esports in terms of how do I know which one's which? Is there a way to figure out which one's which? And some examples as well. So I've got a nice table that you can take and look at and all that sort of thing. So let's get into it. So in this video, as I said, we're going to define for-profit FP and not-for-profit NFP. And then we're going to identify the key stakeholders we've looked at so far, plus some others. What category do they actually fall into? So if we look at the Cambridge Dictionary definition of these two things, a for-profit company is essentially what it is on the tin. So it's a company that exists solely to make profit. I don't want to demonize companies that are for profit though. So they're not just there to make profit at all costs. A lot of the esports companies we look at have a mission. They have something they want to do that contributes back into the ecosystem. So don't look at for profit as something that's negative. It's not. And then we have the not-for-profit companies, which are not intended to make a profit, but to make money for a social or practical purpose. And then they put that money straight back in. So, for example, British Esports, they raise money through being a charity, and all that money then goes to pay their employees, and then it goes straight back into the ecosystem. They don't make money from that. They only use the money they need to expand, and they don't give like profit to shareholders or anything like that. Again, this slide kind of says that in a different way. So, for-profit organisations, typically business ventures, they are listed as private limited companies that is limited by shares. Or they can be PLCs as well, which means they're on the stock market. So I'm sure everyone's aware that FaZe Clan recently entered the stock market. Bad times for them right now if you've just seen the losses that they recorded this quarter. That looked painful. But as anything going on the stock market, there's a whole load of risk and stuff. But that's by the by. Not-for-profit companies, these are like registered charities, they're government bodies, or they're listed as private limited company, limited by guarantee, most of the time. Most of the time. Not all of the time, but most of the time. All of the companies that I'm going to talk to you about on the next slide, their information is taken from the UK government official company information database, which is this text in yellow here. I'll put this link in the description below. So if there's any companies that you found and you want to know which one they fall into, you can easily use their registered company number to find out what they actually are, which is very, very useful. Okay, so here's some examples of FPs and NFPs in esports in the UK. So government is always NFP. As we can see, we've got the DCMS at the top. Trade bodies tend to be NFP as well. So the UKIE, or the UK United Kingdom Interactive Entertainment Federation, they are not-for-profit as well, listed by private limited company by guarantee. British Esports is the same. They also have charity status. To be able to put federation at the end of your name when you're limited as well, you have to get a specific sort of registration with the government. So technically, if the British Esports didn't have this, they would be British Esports Limited, or it would be the UKIE Limited. They can have federation because they have a specific clause which allows them to have federation instead of limited. We've got the Commonwealth spot at the bottom, so Commonwealth Games Federation. So if you watched the CEC this year, it was great. Congrats to all of the players who played. A lot of them were really young. The matches were great. And England managed to get a gold, which I was also very happy about. Congrats to the female Rocket League team. It was a great match. And then if we look in organisations below, we've got some small charities with low profiles as NFPs. And then devs. Well, if you're a game dev, you probably need to make money because you've got to make a product, you've got to sell it. The shareholders that have to invest to do that. So we don't find any devs that are NFP. If we look at the profit side, we've got things we've covered already. So we've got Newell, we've got National Student Esports, Faceit, which we've not covered, which are another type of tournament provider that they're more focused on the wider range of esports competition. So they do have grassroots, but they also have top-end stuff as well, especially if you play CSGO. You might have heard of Faceit in the past. And then we've got orgs like Excel, so Excel's League of Legends division, the LEC division. They are a private limited company, not by guarantee, so they are for profit. And as we've talked about RuneScape in the past, we've got Jagex Limited, who are a private limited company as well. So they're just some nice little overviews there. Remember, if we just go back a slide, you can find any companies, whether they're profit or not for profit, by using the yellow link on that slide, which is in the description. So I suppose to close, why is it this way? Why are things this way? Why can't we all just live in this perfect world where nobody does anything for profit and everyone's super selfless? Well, it kind of boils down to the fact that esports started as a private league. So most esports that are big, as we've said in other videos, we've got the LEC, the LCS, RLCS, you've got the Siege sort of championships and all that. They are all privately owned by the devs, or they're run in partnership with companies like ESL and Faceit. And these companies, they need to make money to survive, to expand. They've got shareholders they need to answer to, so their business model requires them to make money. So lots of esports is in there already. The international recognition of esports is still not quite there yet. So we had the Commonwealth Esports Championships. It was great. If you've been following the news, Emmanuel Macron in France, he's been trying to push for some sort of Olympic esports in Paris in the next couple of years. And the Commonwealth Esports Championships may be in Melbourne in 2028. In the next championship. We don't know yet. They're talking about it. So this sort of national representation of esports, like Team England and Team France and Team Scotland and all that sort of thing, it's not quite there yet. Remember, esports isn't classed as a sport by the UK government, so it doesn't get specific funding through the DCMS because it doesn't have a national governing body. So what that means is that most of the industry is private and for profit, which, as we've said before, isn't a bad thing, but it just means that the government's not putting in the money, so we can't have things like Team England. Yeah. The Commonwealth esports teams were funded in partnership through association with the British Esports Federation, but as I said, we're not a sport yet, so we don't have these sports councils that get money for us to develop talent yet. Okay? So that's sort of why it is the way it is. Consequently, this means that because there's a lot of privatization in esports and because there's a lot of emergent industry, it means there's lots of opportunities for all these companies. But at the moment, we're focused very much on the profit side just because of the nature of where it's come from. So that was FP and NFP. Tried to keep it as quick as I could. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Next video that's coming out this week will be the structure of esports in the UK. So thanks for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you want me to cover next, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later.